Yeah. Good afternoon, students. So, last class we studied virtual work principle for static case and dynamic case, and through one example for static case, we saw how we can able to get static equilibrium position of a system. We will continue some more examples for static case, and then I will take up one dynamic case also in which we will obtain equation of motion, and then we'll move to derive the Hamilton principle based on what virtual work and the D'Alembert principle we have studied. So I'll take up example for static case but 2-degree of freedom system. So this particular example in the last class I was introducing that there are two pendulum connected one uh, below another, and there are two masses m1 and m2. This particular pendulum at the lower mass, we are applying a static force P in the horizontal direction because these links are uh, can move about the mass. So we want to find out what is the equilibrium configuration of this using virtual work principle. So as I mentioned, this is 2-degree of freedom system in which this position of the two pendulum can be defined by theta 1 and theta 2 as generalized coordinates. And uh, because we will be doing the virtual work principle for solving the theta 1 and theta 2. These are the generalized coordinate, and first we'll see what are the forces acting on this particular pendulum, and then we'll give virtual displacement to theta 2, and then next time for theta 1, and we'll see whatever the forces are acting on to the pendulum, how much work they're doing for this virtual displacement. So let us see what are the forces acting. So at m1 there is a gravity force downward direction. At m2 there is a gravity force m2g in the downward direction. There is a horizontal force P which we are applying to the mass m2. So these are the three forces acting, and there is no dynamic force. This is the static case. So the pendulum, now we are giving a virtual displacement because theta 1 and theta 2 are the real displacement which we want to find out. Now we are giving virtual displacement only to theta 2 first, then we'll give to theta 1 also. But for time being, we are giving this figure virtual displacement that is small in nature, delta theta 2. So when we are giving the virtual displacement to theta 2, the theta 1 will not get disturbed because when we move the lower pendulum, the upper pendulum will not get disturbed. So when we are moving by delta theta 2, the lower pendulum, we need to see the forces which were there originally here have moved to the new position of the mass m2. So these forces will do some work that we want to find out. So the virtual work, when we are giving the virtual displacement theta 2 alone, is given by, so first one is because the displacement is perpendicular to the link, because this theta 2 is giving some kind of circular motion to the mass. So the component of the weight along the direction of the arc will be mg sine theta 2. because this is theta 2. So mg sine theta 2 is the force component in the direction of the arc. Now that particular force component is going by a distance L delta theta 2. So that much force will move when we are giving this virtual displacement delta theta 2 L. So if we multiply that force by L delta theta 2, which is the component of the virtual displacement delta theta 2 along the direction of tangent. So this is the virtual work done because of the gravity and because is opposite to the displacement direction, virtual displacement direction we are giving upward direction. The weight component is in the downward direction, so negative sign is there. Then the P is having component in the tangential direction is P cos theta 2. So this is the force P cos theta 2, and this is the virtual displacement L delta theta 2. So this is the same displacement. This force component will. So this is the positive virtual work. There are only two forces here because when we are giving delta theta 2, the m1g is not doing any work because there is no moment of this particular force, so that will not contribute here. And we know that the virtual work is equal to 0. So if we can rearrange this equation by taking the common delta theta 2 to this, rest of the terms will keep inside. Now, because this virtual displacement we are given arbitrary, so this cannot be 0 because we can give any value. So to satisfy this equation, the term within the bracket should be equal to 0, and that will give us the this expression theta 2, that will be P by m2g. So the theta 2 can be obtained using this expression B, which we obtain by giving virtual displacement to theta 2. Now we will give in the next time we'll give the virtual displacement to theta 1, and this virtual work principle which we derived earlier, we can again show you. So you can see that the virtual work principle is this: the summation of the virtual work because of all the forces in the system is equal to 0. So that particular equation we applied here. Now we are giving virtual displacement to the theta 1. So when we are giving virtual displacement to theta 1, along with the upper pendulum, the lower pendulum also will get the displacement because we are giving this theta 1 swing to the upper pendulum. So the lower pendulum also will be getting the same angle of swing, but the displacement at the lower pendulum will be twice as compared to the upper one because the swing angle is small and the length is large. So approximately we can say the swing of the lower pendulum will be approximately twice the upper one. So here L theta 1 is the swing in the tangential direction. Here it is twice. Now the virtual work because of the mg1, the component of that in the tangential direction, and similarly for the m2g and p, we can write this. So here this is the tangential component of m1g sin theta 1, and this is the virtual displacement negative because that is forces in this direction and we are giving displacement in other direction. Similarly, the m2g sin theta 2 or sin theta 1. I think this should be sin theta 2. Sin theta 1. Okay. Okay. This should be theta 2 actually. So all the expressions will change. Let me change here itself. M2 component of that in the, okay, so this will be theta 2 because it's also theta 2. Components are, these are components, and similarly this also will get changed to components. So here we have this is the gravity, the first mass force component in the tangential direction, and this is the virtual displacement. Similarly, this is the second gravity force component in the tangential direction, and this is the virtual displacement, and this is the P cos theta, the theta 2, that is the component of that in the tangential direction, that will give the negative positive virtual displacement. So 2L delta theta 1, this will be common for both M2G and P. Now again we can take out delta theta 1 from this common, because that is the virtual displacement we are given here. So we'll left with this within the bracket, because this virtual displacement is arbitrary, it cannot be zero. So the terms within the bracket will be zero. That will give us a condition here also. The changes will be there regarding the theta 2. So I think here this can be changed. So no problem. So this can, so this is the equation. So theta 2 we already obtained from the previous here. Is that, yeah, theta 2 we already obtained here. So this can be substituted here, and we can solve for theta 1. So these expressions will get changed. Maybe we'll modify it and upload this slide along with that. So this theta 2 we know from the previous expression, and theta 1 is unknown here, so that can be solved. Okay, so for a set of value of the pendulum, this can be solved numerically, but closed form expressions are available here. So I will modify this and present in the PPT when I will give the lecture notes to you. Okay, so this was one of the example in which we took the static case. Now I'll take up another example in which the dynamic case we want to consider, and then I will take up the questions. So here we have a car is there, which is attached with a spring to a fixed support. The car can move in the horizontal direction. The car can move only in the horizontal direction, cannot go up and down. And on the car, there is a bar attached at the center of the car, and bar can swing. So there is a pivot here, it is pivoted here. So this bar can swing about that particular point onto the car. So as the car moves, this bar moves along with the car. Also, it swings. The stiffness of the spring is K. The car mass is M1. The bar mass is M2, and the length is L. Force we are applying at the free end or the other end of the bar, that is Ft, time dependent force. So here you can see that one is the position of the car, which is given by x, and another is the swing of the pendulum, that is given by theta. So these two coordinates will be enough to define the motion of this particular this car and pendulum system. So basically, there is a 2-degree of freedom system. So generalized coordinate can be chosen as x and theta for the x for the car and theta for the pendulum. And here we are deriving the equation of motion, that is a differential equation using virtual work principle. So first, what we'll do, we'll take the free body diagram of this particular car, along with the bar, and we'll apply all the forces which are acting on this in the next slide. So this one is the free body diagram. So this is the car mass and this is the bar. So if you see various forces are acting, we'll start with the spring because we remove the spring. So K into X will be acting opposite to the displacement direction. So Kx is opposite to the displacement direction because X is in the right direction. Acceleration also we can take positive in the right direction. Then the inertia force of the mass, because now we are applying dynamic system, so inertia force will come. So that will be acting opposite to the motion. So this is the inertia force we apply to the mass. The weight of the car is also acting m1g downward direction. And then the bar. Bar is having one is because bar, what is happening? Bar is not only swinging but is moving along with the car. So at the center of gravity, there will be inertia force that will be m2 x double dot. So because this pendulum is moving along with the car, so that particular component of the inertia force will be acting at the center of gravity. Weight of this particular bar will be acting at the center of gravity, that will be m2g. Then the centrifugal force, because it's swinging, centrifugal force will be m2. Here, because center of gravity is there at the middle, so total length is L. So that's why m2 L by 2 theta dot square. Theta dot is the angular velocity of the bar. So this is the centrifugal force which is acting, which is radially outward acting. And then we have the tangential inertia force. So theta double dot is the tangential acceleration, and m2 is the mass of the bar at the center of gravity which is acting. L by 2, L2 by 2 is the radius of this, where the center of gravity is located. Apart from that, there will be a inertia couple. So here, inertia couple, I have taken, this is the moment of inertia, or a moment of inertia about the center of gravity I have taken, and the theta double dot. So this is the inertia couple which is acting at the center of gravity. So there are three inertia force and couple in the this pendulum. In fact, there are four. One is the tangential inertia force, another is the centrifugal force, inertia couple, and the linear acceleration due to the linear motion. So these are the forces acting. Now we will be giving virtual displacement, and then we'll see whatever the forces are acting, how much work they are doing, and accordingly we need to obtain the equation of motion. Because this particular mass and the pendulum, that we have not removed them with, they are still connected. So the reaction forces between them are cancelling each other. So that particular force we are not considered here because still they are in the connected form. So now, yeah, so this is the same description what I explained. So this is the rotary inertia moment about center of gravity, which is C, where the polar moment of inertia of the bar is this much about the center of gravity. This is the centrifugal force and tangential acceleration force, this one. Yeah. So now we are giving virtual displacement, let us say to x. So we are giving a small delta x to this. I have not shown that particular delta x, but the whole, you can see the car will get displaced by delta x along with the, because the, and this particular car pendulum is also attached with the mass. So this also will be moving as a rigid body along with the car when we give the delta x. So when we are giving delta x to the car, the pendulum as it is, it will move along the horizontal direction in this particular configuration. And then we need to find out various forces, what work they will be doing. So let us see this. So this inertia force will do m1 m1 x double dot delta x virtual work, that will be negative. Similarly, kx will give negative kx delta x work for the mass m1. As I mentioned, the bar also will be having the same displacement. So m2 x double dot also will be having the virtual work, which will be opposite to the, which is because this force is acting opposite to the delta x. So this will give the negative virtual work. So this is due to the inertia force, the linear component of that of the car as well as the pendulum. The second one is the tangential, this particular force. So tangential force is acting in this direction. So if we take the component of that in the horizontal direction, because virtual displacement delta x we are giving in the horizontal direction, so that will be cos theta. This angle is theta, so cos theta into delta x. And because it's opposite to the delta x, negative sign is there. So this is due to the tangential force, inertia force. Then this is the centrifugal force which is acting here. So component of this in the horizontal direction will give the virtual work, because the whole pendulum is moving in the horizontal direction by delta x, and here the direction is positive direction, so that's why virtual work is positive here. Then the external force Ft, this is in the x direction only, so directly we will get the virtual work when we multiply by delta x. This couple will not give any virtual work when we are giving a linear displacement, so that is not coming here. mg, because they are acting in the downward direction and the displacement is in the horizontal direction, so they will also not contribute in the virtual work because they are perpendicular to the virtual displacement. So here, this is the virtual work when we are giving a virtual displacement delta x alone. So here you can see that delta x is common. We can take out that common, and within the bracket, whatever the terms are there, if we equate that equal to 0, we'll get this expression. So in the previous thing, we'll take delta x common, and within the bracket, whatever the term is there, because delta x cannot be 0, so within the bracket term will be 0. That will give us this equation. So this is one of the differential equation which we got while we gave the virtual displacement delta x. This equation is in fact nonlinear in nature, because you can see sine theta, cos theta are there. They are nonlinear function. Even the square of the theta dot is there. We'll simplify this equation subsequently, but let us see the second equation, because this is 2 degree of freedom system. So we must have two differential equation, and the second differential equation will come when we give the delta theta variation in the free body diagram. So you see that when we are giving delta theta variation, the mass will not get disturbed, or the first mass, the car mass. Only the pendulum will be having a extra swing of delta theta, and whatever the forces acting on the pendulum will contribute in the virtual work. because the car will not move because of the when we are giving variation delta theta. So forces associated with car mass will not come in the virtual work. So when we are giving delta theta variation, let us see what are the virtual work components we'll be having. So this is the tangential component. Because we are giving theta swing, this tangential uh, force is in the tangential direction only. So this will be, and this is acting at the L by 2. So this is the force L by 2 delta theta. So this much L by 2 delta theta will be the displacement of the this centrifugal the tangential force L by 2 delta theta. So this is the virtual work. So this is the force, this is the displacement, and his swing is in the theta direction, and this is in the opposite, so negative sign. Similarly, centrifugal force, this is this moment. So moment is because this is the inertia moment, so this will be opposite to the virtual displacement. So directly, if you multiply by delta theta, so this will give a couple. This will give a virtual work and negative because this is a inertia couple is in the opposite to the angular displacement. Similarly, the mg2 is in the vertical direction. Component of that in the tangential direction will be mg2 m2g sine theta. This will be component in the tangential direction, and this is the tangential displacement because of the virtual displacement. So, and negative because component of that in the tangential direction will be in the opposite direction to the displacement. Similarly, the inertia force of the pendulum, this is acting in the horizontal direction. Component of that in the tangential direction will be cos theta, and this is the displacement due to the virtual displacement delta theta. Similarly, the external force. The external force is in the horizontal direction. Component of that in the tangential direction will be cos theta, and because it's acting at the end, so total swing of the pendulum at the end will be L delta theta. Other forces are acting at the middle, so L by 2 delta theta, but the external force is acting at the end, so this is L delta theta. So here you can see that again we can take out the delta theta common. Rest of the terms will be within bracket, and because delta theta is arbitrary, we need to equate the terms within the bracket equal to 0. So that will give us a equation of motion like this. So here you can see delta theta, theta dots are double dot is there, x double dot cos theta. So this is a again nonlinear equation. Now, so this is the second equation of motion. First equation of motion we obtained earlier. Now this is the second equation of motion. Now we'll linearize it. We'll see the displacement is small, theta is small. So when theta is small, we can approximate sine theta as theta and cos theta as 1. Because if you see the sine theta expansion, so that contains the first term theta, then theta cube and theta 5 raised to 5, those terms. So we are dropping all higher order terms. So we are getting theta here. Similarly, the expansion of the theta is 1 plus theta square term, then theta 4 raised to 4 term. All the even terms are there. So if we drop all the higher order terms, we are left with 1 only. So if we put this approximation here, this equation will reduce to this equation, which is now a linear equation. You can see the theta is having power only 1. Here x is having power 1, and this is a theta is power 1. This is a constant term. So there is no square term or multiplication of the two variable x and theta. So this is a linear equation. The previous equation which we obtained when we give the virtual displacement x, So this is that particular expression, the previous first one. Okay, so I have rewritten here. This is a nonlinear equation. Those simplification which we want to do for small angle, we'll do. So if we perform this operation, you'll see that this will become 1 theta double dot, sin theta will become theta kx, this. So we'll reduce to this. But you can see that still some nonlinear terms are remaining here. Theta dot square into theta. So this is a nonlinear term. And for small angle, we can able to drop this term because small angle and then square of that will be still smaller. So based on that, we can ignore that term. So we will be left with the equation of motion, which is linear. This. So the equation F and equation G. These are the two governing equation of the system, and they involve x and theta is generalized coordinate. And these two equations again are written here, same equations. Now these two equations, they are coupled because x is appearing and theta is appearing in the first equation. Similarly, theta and x is appearing in the second equation. So that means these two equations we need to solve simultaneously. We cannot solve first equation separately and the second equation separately. We need to solve them simultaneously. They are ordinary differential equation. So these two equations can be put in a matrix form like this. So first one, this vector is the acceleration x double dot theta double dot. This is term related to the first two. So I can show first equation is the first row in this, and second equation is the second row in this. So m1 plus m2 is this, m2l by 2 is this, because they are multiplied by theta x double dot and theta double dot. So basically, this matrices, if we expand, you'll get these two equations. So this particular matrix is the mass matrix. This is the acceleration. This is the stiffness matrix, which is coming from kx. There is no theta term here in the first equation, so 0. In the second equation, there is no x, so this is 0. And this is this here. And these are the force, and this is the couple. So this is a matrix form of these two equations, and it's very convenient to write the such equation in a matrix form, and then it is easy to handle. Okay, so always we'll be finally writing the equation of motion in the matrix form, so that, and there's some property of this kind of equation you can see in the mass matrix is symmetric. The off diagonal terms are same. Stiffness matrix is also symmetric. Off diagonals are 0, but they are same. But in the stiffness matrix, because the off diagonal terms are 0, so there is no coupling in the stiffness matrix. Stiffness matrix is uncoupled because you can see in the first equation, it contains only x in the stiffness, and in the second equation only it contains theta. So this is uncoupled stiffness matrix. But the mass matrix, the off diagonals are not 0, so they are coupled. So this is called coupled mass matrix. Okay. So because they are coupled, so we need to solve them simultaneously. If these two terms are 0, then what will happen? Both the equations will be uncoupled. We can able to solve one equation separately and the other equation separately. But for this particular case, they are coupled. Okay, so this is the equation of motion. At present, we are not solving this differential equation. So the aim of this particular chapter will be to derive the equation of motion using virtual work principle or Hamilton principle or Lagrange's equation. And in the later chapters, we'll we'll solve them. But at present, our aim will be to obtain the equation of motion for 2 degree of freedom system or 3 degree of freedom system. So I'll stop for the questions. If you have, you can raise your hand. So whatever I covered, if you have doubts, you can ask some questions. Then I will go for the Hamilton principle. Yeah, Rohan.
Yes, sir. Can you please explain us the virtual work done by the inertial couple in page number 42?
Okay. Okay. So this is the couple. Okay. This is the couple, and that corresponding, because couple, how we'll get the virtual work with that couple into the angular displacement. So this is the couple, and this is the angular displacement. Okay, for force we need to multiply by the linear displacement. For couple we need to multiply by the angular displacement. So delta theta is the virtual displacement we are given, and this inertia couple is opposite to the motion, so that's why it is negative. So it's clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay.
Yeah. So
Thank
couple
you.
into angular displacement, force into linear displacement. Because this is a virtual work. So the virtual work can come from couple, then we need to multiply by the angular displacement. If it is coming from force, then we need to multiply by the linear displacement. Any other question? So there is no question, then I will.
Sir, you are unmuted. You are muted.
Yeah. Okay. So you can see the slide, I hope. And then, so this is the variational principle or Hamilton's principle. The previous case, we have seen that the virtual work principle using D'Alembert principle, we can formulate the equation of motion. Okay, but only difficulty with that is uh, we need to deal with the force and couple. So we need to obtain all the reaction forces, couple acting, and then directions, cos theta, sin theta. So a lot of complexity is involved in, because if 2 degree of freedom is there, it is fine. But when it's 3 degree or 4 degree or n degree of freedom system is there, then managing those vectors in the form of force and displacement is difficult. So this Hamilton principle rely on the energy directly. So now we'll derive the Hamilton principle through whatever background we have regarding the virtual work expression and the Hamilton, the D'Alembert's principle. So this Hamilton principle is, Hamilton is the name of the person who proposed this method, and this is integral principle. So equation is there in the form of integral, and uh, we'll derive that thing from. So we already have this expression from the virtual work principle for dynamic case. That means we already implemented the D'Alembert's principle in that. So inertia force, you can see. So this is the force, inertia force, and the external force, and this is the virtual displacement. And we know that all these, if we sum for all the particles, that should be equal to 0. Now broken this matrix, so I get two terms. First is the inertia into the dot product of delta Ri, and then the external, the force into delta Ri. I'm interested to present this to rearrange this. This second term is actually work done due to the forces, the virtual work done due to the forces. Okay, that we defined as delta W. So whatever the work, whatever the external force or internal force are there, the work done by that is given by delta W. So we are talking about the conservative force field force. Okay. Now I'll take up this particular term, Ri double dot, that is acceleration, dot product delta Ri. I want to expand this. So here Ri double dot product delta Ri. So I want to write this in this form. It looks complicated, but let us see carefully. So del derivative with respect to time of this term, and then the variation minus variation of this term. So here we should have understanding that the delta operator and the differential operator, we can able to interchange their operation. We can, just like integration and differentiation, we can change the order of that. Same way we can able to do the variation and the differentiation order, we can able to change. So let us see whether this expression is equal to this or not. So here I have given the expansion of that. So if we differentiate the first term, so what we'll get? We'll get two terms. So there are two terms here. So one is the Ri double dot and this. Then second time this will get differentiated. So this is the two terms from the first term. If we differentiate, product of two terms we are differentiating. Similarly, the variation when we are doing, so first we'll be doing variation of this and second time of this. So you can see there are two terms. Variation is also having similar property as the differentiation. So first we get the variation of this and second time of this. Now this term is as it is. This term is also as it is. Here this term and this term, if you see, they are same because delta variation of R dot is there and dot product of R dot here. Just so these two terms are same, so this can be combined together to get this. Okay, so these two terms are giving this, but now you see this term and the second term and third terms are same, so they will get cancelled, and so we'll get R I double dot product delta Ri, which is nothing but this one. So that means this expression can be written like this because on expansion it is giving the same thing. I want to write this because of some purpose, so I will go back to the previous equation. Here I will substitute the expanded form of this here. So this is that particular term. Okay, so I'm just taking this term at present, and this is the term, and I'm substituting this from here. So because I have first term is this, so mi this differentiation first term minus variation of this term. So you can see that when I'm putting this also, so basically I'm getting two terms from this. One is this, another is this. So I substituted for this. So one term is this, second term is this. Okay, and here the summation and the variation operator can be interchanged. So the variation operator has been kept outside. Okay, so because here it is here, so summation will come. So summation and the variation has been changed the order here. So now if you see this within the box, what is this term? Half mass and this is a velocity square. So that is nothing but the kinetic energy. So we can write that as delta kinetic energy. This term I am writing as it is. So this term is giving two terms. One is this, and other is minus delta T kinetic energy. And this anyway, we have seen that is nothing but the virtual work. So now I am substituting. So this is the first term. This is virtual work, which I have. So this two terms, one is this, another is kinetic energy. So this has been brought from the previous limits. So if you substitute here this expression and this here, we will get this minus kinetic energy minus virtual work is equal to 0. Then this virtual work and kinetic energy can be brought in one side and this in the other side. Now let us see the concept of the configuration space. We'll come back to that equation again. But before that, let us see this configuration space concept. So when we are dealing with an n degree of freedom system, having n degree of freedom, n can take 2, 3, any number. So we want to generalize that particular concept. So n degree of freedom means multi-degree of freedom system. So n degree of freedom system will be having n generalized coordinates like q1, q2 up to qn. Now, because such system will be having n generalized coordinate, so we can put all the generalized coordinate in a vector. q1, q2 up to qn, we can put in a vector. And in n-dimensional space, like in mathematics, geometry, we know one-dimensional, two-dimensional, or three-dimensional. Okay, three-dimensional is x, y, z. But in mathematics, the concept of n-dimensional is there, in which a vector containing n components, like here we have the generalized coordinate n, so we will put them in a n-dimensional space. So that will give us a point in that particular configuration space. So when we are talking about a generalized coordinate, what is the value at particular time? So they will be having some values. So those will be keeping in a vector, n-dimensional vector, and that vector in configuration space will give us a point. Okay. So here, okay. So, and when the time is changing, what will happen? This generalized coordinate will have different values. So at t1 it will be having some other value, t2 it will be having other value, t3 other value. So what is happening? This n-dimensional vector are having different values at different time. So as I mentioned, in the configuration space at a particular time, this particular vector is giving a single point. For different time, it will make a particular path, or it will make a particular curve. So that particular curve is called true path or Newtonian or dynamic path. I hope I'm clear. So in n-dimensional space, in a configuration space, the n-dimensional vector is giving a point which is changing with time because this is a dynamic system. So that will trace a path. So you can see in the figure from T1 to T2 in a configuration space is moving. and at a particular time t, it is containing n generalized coordinate, and the generalized coordinate is changing with time. So is a hypothetical path in n-dimensional space or configuration space, which is making a path. So this is called true path, actual path. A different path, varied path, can be thought of. So that will be something like at particular time t, we are giving a variation to that particular n-dimensional vector. So we are giving variation. At different time, we are giving variation. So we can have another path, which is varied path. And this path is arbitrary variations we are giving, similar to the virtual work, virtual displacement we have given. So here, only condition is when we are taking two different time, t1 and t2, the true path of the true path in the configuration space and the varied path in the configuration space should coincide at t1 and t2 at two time instant. They should coincide. In between, they can vary. Again, here the variation is not defined with respect to time. So when we are saying at one particular time, a particular n vector is occupying position here to at time t, we are giving variation at that time only. That okay. So this particular variation is not with respect to time. So variation of the time we are not giving. Only we are giving variation of the generalized coordinates. Okay, so this is the condition I mentioned, that the variation of the true path and the varied path is not there at initial point, initial time, and the later time. This should be T2. I think the second should be T2. At T1 and T2, two time instant, they should be same. They should be zero. There is no variation in the path, but in between they can vary. Now coming back to that particular expression which we derived. So this was the kinetic energy. This is the variation of the kinetic energy, variation of the work is equal to this. So this was the we derived using the virtual work principle. Now what we are doing, we are integrating this particular equation by between time t1 and t2. So this I'm integrating from time t1 to t2. So integration with respect to dt. Then this also I'm integrating with respect to time. So time t1 to t2 and this dt. Here the summation and the integration order can be changed. So put the summation outside integration of this quantity. Now if you see, this is a total differentiation. So directly this can be written as summation of this quantity and the limit of the integration T1 and T2. Now T1 and T2, when we put, because we know that delta R are zero, the variation of the delta R is zero at T1 and T2, so this quantity will be zero. So this is equal to zero. So this was the condition of the varied path. So whatever the variation we are giving, that should be here also it should be T2. So this term will be zero because we have defined the variation at T1 and T2 is equal to zero. So once this is zero, so what we are getting? We are getting this equal to zero. So integration from T1 to T2 of variation of kinetic energy plus work done is equal to 0. So this is the Hamilton principle. In fact, this is a extended Hamilton principle because this is valid for conservative and the non-conservative both. So W is the work done, which we can split into conservative work done and the non-conservative work done. Non-conservative work done can be from the external force, and the conservative part is related with the potential energy. So we know that the virtual work, sorry, this particular work for the conservative system is nothing but the negative of the potential energy, the conservative part, not the non-conservative part. And let us define a function Lagrangian L. L is defined as kinetic energy minus potential energy. This is a definition of a Lagrangian. Now, for conservative system, what will happen? This equation will not contain the non-conservative work done. So we'll be left with T plus WC. WC is the variation of that is we know is negative of the potential energy. So if you put that here, this equation for conservative system will be T minus V delta T. And T minus V we have defined as Lagrangian L. So we'll write variation of this integral L delta T is equal to 0. So this is the Hamilton principle. This is a mathematical statement of the Hamilton principle, which we derived from the virtual work using the D'Alembert principle for dynamic case. So this is more general principle. So that's why it is called extended Hamilton principle, which involves the non-conservative part also, the external force or damping, those things also involved. But this one is a conservative force case in which there is no damping, there is no external force. So I will take some question here if you have, then I'll take up. I will stop here. I will take up the example in the next class. Any questions till now? So this was basically description of the formulation of the Hamilton principle in the simplest way. Now the application of this we'll see in the form of example in the next class. So if you have any question on whatever I have covered today, you can ask questions. Okay, so there is no questions. Okay, so we have class on Monday. I think people have asked for extension of the assignment, so I think I have given up to Monday. I think you can able to see in the team where you submit the assignment. I extended it. Now I will upload second assignment. Second assignment will contain multiple questions. So you need to attempt first using the virtual work principle only. Okay. So I'll be giving, I think, 3 problems so this will be individual problems. Okay, means every student will get different problem. So I'll give 3 problems. So you need to solve one problem using the virtual work principle. So your virtual work principle, another is using Hamilton principle, and another using the Lagrange equation. So as we'll progress, I think you can able to, you'll have enough time to submit that. But at present, among the 3 problems which I'll be giving, you need to solve using the virtual work method only, because I have not covered the Hamilton principle. So at present, you attempt that. So hopefully by weekend, I will upload those assignments. Okay. Also, I think now Next week I will plan for one quiz. So whatever I have covered, maybe not 10 marks quiz, maybe I can take 5 marks quiz, so that you start learning, you can start reading the course. So on the basics, whatever I have covered, I'll try to take one short quiz, 5 marks in next week. I'll announce that. Go ahead. Okay, then I'm stopping here. Bye.